So before I get to the business model of QLA and what the QLA system is, I want to talk a little bit about his style of coaching. And before he gets to business, we covered in the last video about the psychology of a high performance and building a solid foundation. He also talks about something very essential to QLA, which is your character. You know, the system is the same, but when different people work the system, the result is completely different. Why is that? And the answer lies in the character, and the character traits. He talks about the importance of being ruthless. And he clearly and explicitly says, you are going into a kill or die corporate world. The person in front of you in the negotiation, he is not your friend. When we went to school, the teacher said, oh, the person sitting next to you is your friend, the person sitting in front of you is your friend. When we are in the business world, especially in what he is teaching, the person sitting in front of you is not your friend. Your business partners are not your friends. You have collaborated together for financial benefit. And it's very important to not get into the trap of friendship. And this is the reason why he says, do not make friends, do not exchange phone numbers, and this is not a networking buttfuck program. This is QLA is for individuals. And it's gonna get lonely. He says it's gonna get lonely, and it does get lonely. Because you're facing challenges in your business, you're facing problems that you cannot discuss with anybody in your family, and you certainly cannot expose everything that you're going on a personal level with your business partners. They are there to solve your business problems, not your personal problems. So it gets lonely, and he talks about that, and all of that is in the building the solid foundation section of the seminar. So then we come to the business. Now we come to the business aspect of the QLA system. So what is this QLA system, and how does one actually make money? Okay, this is where he comes to making money. QLA system is simply a system designed to buy revenue. Let me say that one more time. QLA is a system designed to buy revenue. It's not a system designed to create a business from scratch. We in QLA do not go in and create a business from scratch, build the team of employees, come up with a business a business plan that it will sell services, and we develop those services and we develop those products. We don't do any of that. What we do is we identify profitable businesses and we buy them, because it's much easier to buy a profitable business than to create one from scratch. Think about it. When a business is created, there is a lot of capital involved. There is a lot of time involved. There are a lot of risks involved. There is a lot of trial and error at the beginning stages. Things are not perfect. Things have not developed fully. The business has not matured yet. The cash flows haven't come yet. A person is putting his time, his life, his money into the business, and many times it fails. Maybe that business was his eighth business and he has worked at it for 15 years, and this person, after working at it for 15 years, has created this valuable asset that's now producing cash flow, and it's decent size. It's $1 million, $5 million, $10 million size. We imagine you going in and just negotiating with the owner and buying that business rather than creating from scratch. Not only that, you buy it with other people's money, not even your own money. And the third interesting point, and you keep control of the business. It's not like when you raise the money, you will lose control. So how does that happen? So first of all, it's important to understand that QLA system is about buying revenue. It's about buying businesses. It's not about creating one from scratch. And what industries are the best for this? Dan Pena recommends it's healthcare, and another industry he recommends is telecom, and another industry that he doesn't directly recommend it, but many mentees have done it, is real estate, and he names several industry. But it's important that whichever industry one chooses to get into, where they want to buy the business, has a huge volume of targets. You need at least 1,000 plus businesses in your region in a particular industry if you want to start buying and consolidating. So here is the model. You find an industry which has a lot of businesses, which is extremely profitable and stable, and which have thousands of businesses in your region, and you go in and you start buying these companies from scratch, and you start bringing them under your company, and you start combining 5-10 businesses together, and eventually you're going to sell this for double price. That's the model. You're going to buy the business and sell it for, buy several businesses, combine them together, and then sell it off. And buying a business is, it's funny, but it's just signing a few papers. The entire business is structured in the form of a few sheets of paper, and that's the deal. You sign a few sheets of paper and you transfer the ownership, and you just keep doing that, and then you flip it. So that's I'm overly simplifying it just to explain it. There are several other steps involved, but I just want to give you a bird's eye view of what needs to happen, and there is several other steps that need to be done before that, before you can buy the business, and how to buy the business and all of that. I cannot get into it in this video, so I'm giving you a bird's eye view. So then once you buy these businesses, you merge them, and once you merge them, you can sell it for a double price. Now, how do you actually buy these businesses? Because you don't have money, remember? We don't have any money. So we use other people's money. And you might have seen a Shark Tank where entrepreneurs go in and they do the pitch and they get the money, and well, that's not what we do in QLA, because that's what we call equity financing, meaning you bring in some capital and you give out shares in your company, you give out ownership in your company. QLA is a system where you will maintain majority position, hopefully until the exit. And if you start selling shares to bring money into the company, soon enough your ownership is not going to be left and you will be kicked out of the company, just like Steve Jobs did. Okay, so Dan Pena talks about buying business, but he doesn't talk about buying business using equity financing, meaning an investor putting in the money. Because every time you raise money from the investor, your ownership dilutes down. So just think about it. You're struggling in the business. You want to raise some money. You raise some money, your ownership gets diluted. Things are a little bit underdeveloped, so you need more capital. The more capital you raise, the more things get developed. The more things get developed and the more capital you have raised, the less the ownership gets. So this is the danger of equity financing. This is the danger of raising money from investors. Initially, when things are uncertain, you are raising little money for more ownership. As things get developed, you will need more capital to expand. The investor puts more money, and slowly your ownership starts getting diluted. The business starts getting more and more profitable, and your ownership starts getting diluted. When it drops below 51% or 40% or 30%, you're going to get kicked out. And now when you kicked out, when you started off, when you put in all the work, the business was premature. So if you got kicked out at that stage, it still would have been fine. But now you have given years into the business. And now, once the business is now profiting, the investors throw you out. And that's what happens typically in equity financing. That's why Dan Pena says, we're going to raise money and we're going to keep control. How do you do that? You do that through debt financing. You can get money. You can't get money to start a business from a bank in most scenarios, but you can get money from the banks to buy the business. Okay, so you will raise money from the banks to buy the business. We in QLA raise money from the banks to buy the business, and it's all debt. When the bank gives you the money, all they're looking for is the interest and the principal back. They don't want to get too much into your business. They want to leave you alone. If they see you have the expertise, they will give you the money and they leave you alone. And then you have to be in communication, but it's not like an equity financing. You will still keep the ownership. Once you have given the money back, you will have all the ownership. So that's why he recommends debt financing. So what about the risks of debt financing? Well, yes, there are risks, but we always raise debt at the company level. We do not raise debt on a personal level like what you would do when you buy a car. We raise it at the company level so that the company is the borrower, you are not. And if something happens, the company goes bankrupt, you are still not bankrupt. The company and you are different entities. Remember that. So that's in essence what the QLA model is. That's the business side. There are many facets to QLA model. There is the sacrifice, high performance psychology, building personal foundation. There is goals and affirmations. There is business side of it. There is the dream team that I have not talked about. But I just wanted to give you an overview of how money is made. So if you buy, let's say, 15 companies and they are worth $2 million each, you bought them essentially raised $30 million and bought assets worth $30 million. These assets you can sell for 60 to $100 million, and you will have 60% of that entire proceed. So that's how generational wealth is built through buying businesses, bringing them together, and selling them at a higher valuation. If you look at real estate sector, you can enhance the value by 20%, 30%, 40%, the capital appreciation. But if you look at mergers and acquisitions where you buy businesses, particularly in healthcare, there is a very high chance you can sell it. If the businesses are profitable and you acquire a lot of them, you can sell it for double price, 3 times price of what you originally bought at. So that capital appreciation is much higher compared to real estate. So that's the reason why this is even better than the real estate. And that's my full overview of the business aspect of QLA and how the money is made. So just